This week, Jeremy Corbyn managed to state a position that perfectly sums up what is wrong with his brand of left-wing politics. Speaking at an event to launch his policy on equal rights for women, he called for companies to stop early evening socialisation, claiming that after-work drinks discriminate against mothers.
It's got to stop, it's got to end, and the behaviour of companies that encourages an ethic of early evening socialisation in order to promote themselves within the company benefits men who don't feel the need to be at home looking after their children, and it discriminates against women who want to obviously look after the children that they've got. It's a lot of subtle discrimination as well as the most overt discrimination that has to be dealt with.
So many things wrong. Let's start with the idea that drinks after work disadvantages parents. Yes, it might. I don't think it's a case of turn up for drinks and we'll promote you, but in my experience, drinks after work can often be used as a useful opportunity to talk to people in your office you don't normally get a chance to speak to, which can help broaden your understanding of the business. But is that unfair discrimination? Having a family can be hugely rewarding. By having a family, you are choosing to give up a lot of your free time, but in return, you have a family. So yes, having a family does mean it'll be more difficult to go out for work drinks, but it also means it'll be more difficult to do other stuff that can improve your employability, such as taking a part-time course. Having the time to do a part-time course improves your employability. Having a family makes that more difficult. Should we ban people without families from taking part-time courses? Clearly not. Let's remember that people without families are not getting all the associated rewards of having a family. Working late can also help you get a better job. Should we ban people from going above and beyond because some people are choosing to have families? Is it fundamentally different from pursuing something else that takes up a lot of your time? Should we restrict what other people are allowed to do because someone has chosen to spend 70 hours a week playing table tennis? Fear of missing out is not discrimination. It is not unfair that someone working full-time at being a professional tennis player cannot also be a professional hockey player. At least it's less likely that they will be. Should we ban people that choose to spend their time being hockey players? Equality of outcome is very different from equality of opportunity, and this typifies the ideology of spiteful envy that exists on the left. Honestly, if I had kids, which I might do one day, I would definitely go to fewer work drinks, and I would definitely not want to ban other people from enjoying theirs, even if it gave them an advantage at work. Going to fewer drinks would kind of suck, but that is one of the many sacrifices I will be making in choosing to have a family. The second issue I have with what he said is the view that men don't feel the need to be at home with their children, but women obviously do. That is a sweeping generalisation. He may be right that on average more women choose to take flexible working arrangements than men, but quite a lot of men do too. Also, let's not forget the huge support there was for David Cameron's government making it so parental leave could be shared between parents any which way the couple decides. Admittedly, the choices couples are making are still skewed towards traditional gender roles, but it is not uniform. I know people who have already taken advantage of this. Now more than ever, it is the parents' choice who goes to work. It is no longer the case that women in general are pushed into staying home for economic reasons. In the past, men earned much more, but now there is no pay gap for women below the age of 40 in the UK. Above that, it increases, which is mainly due to women, on average, choosing to take more time off work to have children than men and adopting more flexible working arrangements. But despite there being some differences in behaviour between the sexes, it is far from obvious that men don't feel the need to be at home with their children, while women do. So what is the answer? It is sexism that must be dealt with. So are we going to ban colleagues having a drink after work? I mean, look at those sexist bigots. Don't they realise that the women should be at home looking after the children? Lock them up. I mean, it's just absurd. Having a drink with colleagues after a long week, for a lot of people, is what it's all about. But no, the fun police can't have that because it might, in some twisted sense of reality, be sexist. Who knows, it might even be racist too. Some people have pointed out that Corbyn didn't actually set out firm proposals to ban after-work drinks. By saying that something has to end, he might not necessarily want to legislate against it. Right, so he just thinks that it is unfair, discriminatory and sexist, but he's just fine with that. What are you trying to argue? The man who calls for a maximum wage won't enforce it. The man who calls for all women shortlists won't enforce it. The man who's called for a ban on building works if it goes over 27 degrees won't enforce it. Not sure how anything could be built in countries near the equator. That man whose entire ideology is authoritarian. They are arguing that he would be happy to let something he views as unfair, discriminatory and sexist persist. Something he has said has to stop. Come on. The other reason that this is so typical of Corbyn is that he's poking his nose into something he knows nothing about. He's a teetotaler and has never held a proper job in his life, and all the while completely overlooking much bigger issues on his own doorstep, like the widespread abuse of female MPs by his supporters, like appointing a swathe of not even very good male mayors, leaked figures suggesting a major gender pay gap within his own team, and previously proposing gender-segregated transport. Oh, and the event to launch his policy on equal rights for women had a drinks party afterwards. I mean, it's beyond a joke. Well, nothing is beyond a joke. 3 co-workers go into a bar, and Jeremy Corbyn has them arrested.